Hey, everybody, this is Todd Levine, founder of Agape Pastoral Services, and I am super excited about what I have in store for you today. I'm going to be doing an interview here with a couple, Leslie and Ben. I worked with these guys, had the honor and privilege of working with these guys over the last several months. I guess we wrapped up maybe a couple of months ago. And a great couple in Florida. And I'm just pumped to kind of walk them through some questions, and they want to share their experience with you guys so you can learn a little bit more about premarital counseling and what it might look like to work with me if you were looking at premarital counseling. So Ben and Leslie, thank you so much for taking the time to be with me tonight.
Yeah, no problem. You're welcome.
Gosh, you guys are just great to work with, and I'm so excited to have you on here tonight. Why don't you guys share with me, whichever one of you wants to jump in first, of why was premarital counseling important to you? What were you looking to accomplish with premarital counseling?
Yeah, when we got together and I proposed and we got engaged, one thing that we found really important to do was counseling before we got married. We really wanted to make sure that we were setting proper expectations for each other when we get married. Another thing too was just we wanted to make sure that we kind of turned over every rock with what we should do to prepare properly for the marriage and how to treat each other, what to learn from each other as well.
I love that. Leslie, you got any thoughts on that? What was important to you about doing premarital counseling?
I would say the same thing like Ben. It's just making sure that we have every stone unturned, making sure that we find like all the potential conflicts that could come in the future and talk about it. How can we handle it and what should we do?
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. And so, obviously you guys are in Florida. I'm here in Minnesota. 24 hours of drive time separating us. And so obviously this was the only format, right? Like in person was not an option for us. So how do you guys feel this format, doing it virtually, worked for you? Did you find that it worked well for you? Ben, what are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, the funny thing too is that not only are us long distance, but when we first started, Leslie and I were long distance too. So I lived on one side of Florida and Leslie lived on the other side of Florida. So we've always been used to kind of like a virtual format where we always would video chat with each other. So finding someone also that was virtual, it just kind of seemed natural. So it also kept the convenience of us being able to still do the sessions where we're at whatever given day after work, especially. So it was very convenient for both of us too.
Awesome. I love that. Yeah. Is it as good as in person? Maybe not quite, but it sure is a close second. And this worked really well. I always felt like we were able to communicate and have fun and laugh and cover serious stuff. And I don't think we were impaired by it at all. So, all right, Ben, I'm going to throw this question at you first and give Leslie a minute to think about it. So what did you like best about working with me? What did you find most beneficial in your experience in working with me?
I would say I really liked how you had so much insight almost to any questions that we had. You were very flexible with scheduling, very trustworthy from the start. You just gave off a really friendly demeanor that I was just like, I can trust him and open up about anything with this guy, even from the very, very start. When Lizzie and I were searching and praying, like, God, let's help us to find the right person to trust our future with, to guide us and give us wisdom that we'll allow into our hearts. And right off the bat, I feel like God gave us that peace in our hearts to be able to choose you. So that was something that I would say is just your trustworthiness was my favorite thing of working with you, along with the wisdom that you have to provide.
Awesome. Thank you. Leslie, what are you thinking on that question?
I loved working with you, Todd. One of the things that we really I loved was that, being honest and always showing us both sides of both sides of the perspective on which ways that I could see things and which ways that Ben could see things, and how we can be able to resolve those situations. Also, helping us, helping us be accountable, and also making sure that, we are being rooted in Christ, and making sure that, God is always at the center of everything.
Love that. That's awesome. That is so awesome. All right, cool. So, what do you think was the most important takeaway that you can think to yourself, yep, this is going to help me in marriage? Does anything pop right into your minds?
I can answer that. I'll start off. I would say knowing each other's strengths and weaknesses and some weak points, like just identifying those different things about each other, but not only just in each other, but in ourselves too. So that way we know where to improve for ourselves, because you want to be better for yourself so you can be better for your spouse. So that was one of my biggest takeaways, is knowing how to identify some things in her and more in myself, so that way I can improve and I can also help her grow too.
Nice. Awesome. Leslie, what about you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, one of the things that I would say is the same thing. I was actually going to say the same exact thing. But one of the things that really helped us realize our strengths and weaknesses, and also the way that we think, and was that compatibility test. That really opened up our eyes to show where we can grow, and what areas we do relate on, and see that we are the mindset that we both have.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things I really loved about it.
Cool. That's awesome. So do you guys feel better prepared for marriage now?
I would say 100%, yeah.
Yes.
100%. Yeah. If anything, I feel like this experience just reinforced. It was reinforcing and reaffirming our compatibility too, and just knowing that, hey, if there's any difficulties throughout the way, it doesn't mean you have to drop someone, but it just means that you get to work on something together. You have to work towards a future together, and just because it may not be picture perfect doesn't mean that it's the end, or that you shouldn't try to pursue true love with someone.
Yeah. Awesome. Very cool. All right, I'm going to wrap up with one question. What would you say to a couple that might be watching this in the future, that's kind of on the fence about wanting to work with me? What would one word of encouragement be for them right now?
Oh, you can go first.
One word of encouragement I would say is that, Todd is an amazing person. He's trustworthy, and he will be able to give you the best advice. Not only that, but he'll always make sure that you'll be rooted in Christ. And if there is a conflict, he'll always be there any time of day, if he's available. And he'll always give you, the truth, most importantly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I would say that I love working with Todd. He's very flexible, very reliable. The level of confidence that you can have in him, to trust him with anything, is amazing. And just the fact that he has, I would say he's a gold mine of wisdom, and the fact that he's a God-fearing man, it puts you at ease and puts you in, gives you peace to work with him. So there's a lot I would say that I can say, but
Exactly.
for sake of not making this like a 1 hour.
Oh, you're making me blush. You're making me blush.
I would say he was so much fun. Todd was a lot of fun, and just the way that he can relate to. That was my biggest thing. Is like, hey, have you worked with a younger couple? And yeah, the great thing is like he has kids that are like our age, so he knows exactly like what we're going through and how to relate to us. Yeah. So that was a really great aspect of working with Todd.
Yeah, and not only that, was like even you opening up about your own experiences in your marriage also helped us realize, things that we could stumble on the way. How can we handle it? And like all your years of experience of you working with couples is like also a big win for us, because like you've had all this experience that you can pour into us as well.
Yeah, the transparency with those experiences, sharing the stories, and being honest about it and being very upfront, that meant a lot to us too,
Yeah.
because it's like we don't have to go through those hard times or make those type of mistakes, because we can learn from that experience. So it was extremely valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, I told you guys this when we wrapped up our premarital counseling a few months ago, that I really think you're going to crush marriage. You guys have a heart and a love for the Lord. You have a heart for each other and a love for each other. You're both strong and confident in who you are, and you guys are just going to be fantastic married. I can't wait to see wedding day photos. I can't wait to see kid photos someday.
Yeah.
So I'll be stalking you guys on social media. So
Hey, don't worry, we'll keep in touch.
And if I do find myself down in your neck of the woods, I'll definitely look you up. So guys, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. You guys have a great night, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.